Good evening. This is a great turnout for 8th grade transition meeting. So I'm really happy to have all of you here. This is one of the few times I get so many parents to come in and talk to us about upcoming school year and curriculum and the goals we have for your kids. And I gotta tell you, our main goal at school, and I try to tell students this, is we really want you to graduate in 4 years. The goal is 4 years across the stage, everybody gets to watch, we shake your hands, and it really is a great feeling. And so that's the goal. So no matter what we do or ask of you, that's why we're doing it, because we want you to graduate in 4 years, okay, and walk across that stage. So just keep that in mind as we talk tonight, that the choices you're making now and in the next 4 years, they're important, because we need to get through this together starting next year. And everything matters, everything counts. And we want to be here to support you and answer questions, but it really comes down to having a good relationship with parents and students having a good relationship with us. So I am Carrie Gauthier, I'm the principal, and this is Brian Ross. He is our counselor. He's also leads our early college and dual enrollment. He has a wonderful website, and we're gonna show it to you tonight. Take a picture of it, put it on your favorites, bookmark it, whatever you have to do, but that is the webpage that you're gonna wanna look at, okay? So, Brian?
So we just did introductions. Mr. Huber, who's also the varsity basketball coach, is the other counselor in the high school, and he will be joining us in a few minutes, so he'll be in. He will work mostly with the underclassmen, the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and that's you. You guys are what, the class of 2024? It's amazing how that number has gone by so fast. What we're going to do tonight is give you a lot of information about what we offer in the high school, things to think about, because in school, the skills they're learning is just continuous. It never ends. And the same thing with scheduling. It never really comes to an end. So we're actually in the part of the year where we're going to choose courses for the next school year. Because the process of building a master schedule and putting together 500 and some schedules for students takes quite a long period of time. And sometimes it involves hiring teachers and filling staff. So we're in that point. And 8th graders, sometime in the next couple weeks, we're going to work it out, where Mr. Huber, myself, maybe Mrs. Wright, we will meet with you in classroom settings, and we'll help guide you through some of this. All of you have a handout there. That handout we will discuss in more detail later, but it gives you a general idea of the courses you're going to want to schedule in your educational development plan. Okay? There's 2 tracks there. There are some that will take algebra next year in the 9th grade, and there are others that took algebra this year in the 8th grade who will go on and start with geometry. And the electives are off to the right. You will notice we do have one new elective, depending on how many students sign up for the course, and if we can fill it with a teacher, will be a theater class. Trimester 1, T2, T3. You could take 1, 2, or all 3 of those. And you don't have to necessarily be an actor to be in the theater class. You might like working with the props or even the technology like Mr. Davis does. So a lot of opportunities there, okay? All right, in order to get a high school diploma, basically in any high school across the state of Michigan, they have to complete what's called the Michigan Merit Curriculum. And it is the same thing that's up here on our slide. Notice that English, you have to have 4 credits, social studies 3. The one class that used to be a requirement, it was the only requirement in the entire state years ago when I went to school, and perhaps some of the parents here, was civics. That was the only class that was required. So that's the one class in high school you cannot get out of no matter what, which is good. Mathematics, 4 credits. The minimum to count towards a high school math credit is algebra. Pre-algebra and basic math won't even count towards a math credit. Science includes biology, physical science, chemistry. Okay? PE and health. Now there are ways if you choose not to do PE, if you are any band students in here? Okay, quite a few. If you are in marching band, that would satisfy your PE requirement. Anybody here play sports? Okay, excellent. If you play a team sport in the high school and you earn participation credit, then you do not have to take PE if you don't want to. Some students just love it and want to take it, and I encourage that. Fine or applied arts, you have to have 1 credit. That includes like drawing and painting, ceramics, welding, metalworking, woodworking, computer-aided drafting, web page design. There's a lot of ways to satisfy a fine arts credit. Band, chorus, theater, new class. Also foreign language. 8th graders here, how many of you have participated this year in a Spanish class? Basically every hand is up. You will get high school credit for that. Okay, it will go on your transcript. So you've got 1 credit down. Anybody in here taking Spanish 2? Oh, look at that. You guys will move into the high school having satisfied the 2 requirements for foreign language. Now, if you only had 1, that's okay. You can go on and take Spanish 2 in the high school, or you can opt out of that 2nd credit of foreign language if you take an extra credit of fine or applied arts or something called a CTE course, which stands for Career Technical Education. That's where you go up to Mount Pleasant or Alma, and you might do welding or construction, cosmetology, health occupations. Electives, that varies a little bit. It really depends on what other courses you take and how many dual enrollment courses that are in your schedule. And the one thing you also have to have in order to graduate is an approved portfolio. Okay, where you put together a collection of your resume, examples of some successes you've had, and it gets approved by a certain teacher or faculty member. Total credits to graduate Shepherd High School, 27.5. Okay, 8th graders, let's do a little math today. Are you ready? You can earn a half credit for each class you take in the high school. At any one point in time, you take 5 classes. How many credits would that be? 2.5. Somebody said it. Excellent. 10 extra credit points for you. Okay, 2.5 credits. You have 3 terms or 3 trimesters here in the high school. So how many credits could you earn in the course of a year? 7.5. This is the best group we've had. All right. That's a good sign. 7.5. Now, if you're on the 4-year plan, how many credits could you earn in high school? 30, okay? And you need 27.5 to graduate. That means there's a little leeway there. Please don't interpret that as I suggest you go fail a couple classes. That's not the intent. Okay, academic opportunities. For the school, a school our size, we are very, very proud of the opportunities we offer students. We have dual enrollment. What that means is you can take college classes while you're in high school and earn both high school and college credit. We have the Laidley building. Believe it or not, I went to kindergarten, 1st grade out in that building a long time ago. It's now a college classroom. It's a satellite campus of Mid-Michigan College. And you can take college classes right here on our campus and earn college credit. We offer career technical education. And to be honest, the jobs are expanding at a rapid pace in the career technical fields. We have 100 students who will go to career tech in the afternoon or in the morning. They'll get on a bus, they go to Mount Pleasant or Alma, and they participate in that training. And some of our students are finding jobs as soon as they get out of high school. So some of you, that's a great opportunity. We also offer something that the state proposed, which is the STEM diploma. That stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If you take a certain list of courses while you're here, you can get an endorsement on your diploma that'll have STEM on it. That may not be for everybody. If you're not going into a STEM field, okay, you don't have to do it. But if you do it, it could look very good on a resume. And there are several colleges in this area that offer scholarship money for those that have a STEM diploma. Alma College and Saginaw Valley are two of them. One of those offer up to $5,000 for a STEM scholarship. So something to think about. We also offer something called early college. Now students, take a deep breath. Yeah, nice. You can release it too. All right. It is where you stay in high school for 5 years and you can earn a potential associate's degree and a high school diploma in 5 years. Where a typical student would take 4 years of high school, then leave and go on and take 2 more years to get to the associates. So you get it a little bit quicker and you get it at a much reduced rate. So that is something to consider. You really do not have to choose to be in the early college until October of your junior year. Scheduling and registration. We will be meeting in your classrooms coming up in the very near future. We'll be doing something called EDPs, Educational Development Plans. It used to be in a program called Career Cruising. 8th graders, you remember that? Yeah. Well, now it's called Zello. Zello. That company bought out Career Cruising. It's really pretty nice. And all your classes are in there. When we meet with you, we will help you choose your classes for next year based off the handout we gave you tonight. We encourage you to, after this meeting, talk with your parents about those electives and requirements. And then after you put your registration classes in your EDPs, get with your mom and dad or your guardian and go over it and show them what you're choosing. We will not finalize those until probably a couple weeks before spring break. And we will give you a little bit of warning, say, hey, we're going to pull those classes, so lock them in. Repeat after me. I will not hit submit. Okay, you've been told. Don't hit submit. Here's the track for English. We'll go through the different core areas fairly quickly. And before we do, let's give it up for Mr. Huber, who's now here. This is the other counselor. English 9, 10, 11, 12, it's pretty basic each year. However, your senior year, you get a choice. You could do what's called dual enrollment and take English 111 through the college and English 112, which is English Comp and English Lit. Those two classes would count towards your English 12 credit. So you do not have to take both. You could take one or the other. You do not have to make that decision until after your 11th grade year. In order to get accepted into those college classes, though, you need to show that you're college ready in English. So on your PSAT tests that you take, and you're going to be taking this spring, you want to do your very best. Find out where you're at and improve your skills. That's a college entrance exam. In science, all 9th graders will take physical science. Our sophomores take biology. Our juniors take Mr. Cahoon and chemistry. And then your 12th grade year, you have an option. If you want to get the STEM diploma or endorsement, you want to take the college chemistry and biology and a physics class, which would include some engineering components. Social studies. As a 9th grader, you would take world studies. As a sophomore, U.S. history. As a junior, you take a couple pretty tough courses. Civics and economics are challenging, and it's taught at a very rigorous, in-depth level. And it's a great class. You will learn a lot, but it's not easy. So you got to prep yourself for that. And then there are a lot of electives like Modern America, History of American Wars, Practical Law. Math. In mathematics, there's really 2 tracks. However, if you start off in 9th grade taking algebra, you could potentially cross over and you could double up and take geometry and algebra 2 as a sophomore. But in order to do that, I'd really encourage you to talk to your parents first and then talk to one of your math teachers. Make sure and say, hey, if I choose to do this, what do you think? We don't want to overload you with it. You have the opportunity before you graduate to get through Calc 1. We even have some students here who get through Calc 2, which is pretty impressive. Out of a graduating class about the size of yours, we might have about a dozen students during their senior year take calculus. And that's pretty good. And you can get college credit for that. Again, guess what we're going to look at before you get accepted into a college math course? Your grades, your attendance, and then your PSAT scores and SAT scores. Okay, the breakdown of trimesters, take a peek at this. It's kind of self-explanatory. I know middle school's on trimesters, but it's a little different. How many classes do you guys have in a day? 6. When you get into high school, you really have 5. And they're going to run a little bit longer in duration than the classes you have now. They're about 74 minutes. It's really pretty nice, especially if you have a science class with a lab. It gives you time to really get into it and get through it. It's also nice for our PE classes. You got time to get warmed up, do a good workout, and then take a shower and get cleaned up. Band, it's really good. And chorus, you get plenty of time to get extra performance practice. EDPs. The login is login.zello.world. I don't expect you to memorize that. But if you go to the website that's on that handout we gave you, I think it's at the very top. It says onwardshepherd.weebly. You go there and you look under resources. That login is there, and you just click the login, and it takes you right to the link. And to log in, students, all you need is your Shepherd Blue Jays email and your SPS password. Okay? So you all can show your parents what you're signing up for by just taking them to that link. This is something I really want you to consider very carefully. It's not an easy process building a master schedule. There's a lot of variables. We take what the students sign up for and we try to figure out, okay, based on what they want and need, what can we offer them? Some students end up happy, some students end up disappointed. Here's examples of how it works. If we get 15 students sign up for an elective course, we probably won't offer it because that's not enough to fill a class. If we get 25 to 30, that's a great number for a class. What do you do when you get 35 to 40 students sign up for a class? Do you offer 2 sections of it and you only have 14 in each one? Do you offer just one and then some students aren't able to get into it? Those are examples of the challenges we face when we build a master schedule. I say that because I want you to think very carefully and consult and talk with your family before you sign up for classes. I say that, and then every year after we do registrations, 2 weeks later, we get 30 students come to us and say, I changed my mind. And that's okay, and I get it. I mean, we all do that, it's human. But it does affect things, and then some students they miss out on opportunities in classes they wanted because we get a shift of 20 to 30 students, and we can't just keep changing the master schedule. So I guess the best thing you can do is really consider it before you make your choices. And I don't want to scare you away from making changes. We will consider them. Here's a path. You can see what a typical load would look like. Basically, students will complete 15 sections of classes. When we say that, that means an A and a B part for all the cores. If it's algebra, it's an A, a B, and a C part, so that takes up 3 sections. So if you're in algebra next year and you're also taking PE, you would have 4 electives to choose from. So if you're a band or chorus student, that would take up 3 electives right there. That would leave you 1 more. Some of you might say, well, wait a minute. I need to take Spanish. There's not enough room. Well, you can still do that because if you choose, you could not necessarily take PE, especially if you're a band student. Marching band counts, and that would free up another elective, and you could sneak Spanish in there. If you're a geometry path, that only takes up 2 tries, so you'd get 5 electives. And then all of the electives are off on the right-hand side. There are a couple I'd like to point out to you. One of them is called Pre-English 9. Students don't choose to take that. It's an intervention for us. So we'll look at your test scores and your grades in English in 8th grade, and if we feel like you're a little behind or lacking, we'll put you in what's called a Pre-English 9 to try to work on your skills before you start trimester 2 and start English. And it's been very effective for us. It's really helped our students succeed once they are in English. Another one is called Guided Academics. That's not something students can choose. It's something when we consult with the middle school teachers, they say, well, this student might need a little extra support. And it's a class where we can give you a little extra time and a person who can help tutor and guide you in study skills and in your homework. Okay? So those are good courses, but you don't get to choose those. We'll choose those for you. This looks really complicated. I'm a spreadsheet guy, so if you're like me, you love it. If you're not, you're like, what on earth is that? Okay. This is an outline of what it would look like to get a STEM endorsed diploma. Up on the top is your 8th grade year. In that orange to the left is your 9th grade year, and there are 3 tries, and then 10th, 11th, 12th. This is something I'm going to post on our website so you can review it later in more detail. I just wanted to kind of show you what it might look like. The green represents the courses that you would need to get that STEM endorsement. On the left-hand side, it's taking mostly college classes to achieve that. On the right, you could achieve the same diploma STEM endorsement by going a career technical route and taking like mechatronics or electrical work. So there's different avenues to achieve that same STEM endorsement. But the one minimum you have to have is pre-calc. Okay? There's no getting around it. That's a minimum in order to get the STEM diploma. The curriculum guide, or called a course offering guide, is online on the Onward Shepherd site. You can download it there. It's pretty lengthy, but it will describe to you all the different important things like how we determine top 10, how do you graduate magna cum laude, NCAA. Anybody here looking to maybe play college athletics? There are certain rules you got to follow, and grades and test scores are part of it, so that you can get information in that. And then we list every single course we offer here at Shepherd, and we give a description of what that class entails. So if you want to know what's theater like, take a peek in our course offering guide. And when you open it up, that right there is what you'll see on the first page. That's Mr. Klump there when he graduated with the Shepherd flag. Grading. Did you want to talk about this? This might be better for you. Thank you.
If you're familiar with Power School, and I'm not sure about the middle school, but when you look at a teacher's Power School and high school, they list a description. And most of the things that our teachers give grades on are summative assessments, which are like your end of unit tests, your big tests at the end, and those are 60 to 80% of a student's grade. Now I know the middle school has kind of moved to this as well, so it's important to know this. Then they have formative assessments, and I can't tell you what the percentage is. Every department or teacher is a little different, but those are like the quick checks, the little things to know if students are getting the information. Then we have homework, and I wouldn't say we have a ton of homework. Teachers are making sure that students, especially in math class, have about at least 10 to 15 minutes to work on their assignments, and I wouldn't say there's an overwhelming amount of homework. But I don't know, I'm not the student, so. They also have daily work in class, notes, things like that. Also, students have IXLs. These vary in how they're graded, whether it's 5%, 10%, but it's important to know when you open up PowerSchool and you look at a teacher's description, it will help you tell your student what's really important for them to get done. If they have a 5-point little worksheet that needs to be done, it's probably for a small amount of their grade. So either they do the worksheet or they study and get ready for their test. Okay, these are choices and decisions that kids are going to have to make. So it's really important that you read those descriptions in PowerSchool, that when a teacher sends the syllabus home, that you take an opportunity to read it and talk with your child about it. These are the things we really recommend, because what happens is kids say, oh, I don't know what to do, or I don't know what my grade's based on. I know in every single one of my teachers' PowerSchool, it does say, because I checked. And it's important. It's important for parents to know, and it's important for students to know. So make sure that you're clicking on that and you're taking a look. Okay.
Okay, top 10 honors. Some of you will want to compete for academic accolades when you graduate. In order to be top 10, there's some criteria. We were the first school in the area to move to a formula outside of just grade point average. We also use the SAT scores, and a student can take that multiple times. And by the way, if a student's parents or family struggle to pay for the SAT, they can come see me, and we can look at a fee waiver so you can take it for free. So the amount of money should not be an issue in how many times a student could take the SAT. Shouldn't be. Now, we were the first one in the area to do this. Now every school in this area almost uses a formula like this, and they've modeled it after us. And what we do is it's half GPA and it's half SAT score. So it's 2 indicators. We got away from just GPA because what you could find is, depending on what classes a student took, a person could get a lower GPA but really be quite a bit further along academically than another student. You know, if they're taking Calc 1, Calc 2, physics, engineering, and the other student didn't take those courses, you might get 1A minus and lose out to someone else. So using the 2 indicators has been a really great thing. So keep that in mind if you want to compete. A freshman year checklist, things to think about. Your core classes are important. So next year when you come in, be really ready to go in that English and math and science and social studies. Get a good grade point average in those. If you're looking to be a college athlete, that's actually the only courses they will look at. They will not look at the electives. They will only look at your grade point average in those core classes. Study skills. Start now. Don't wait. Get in a habit of finding a place at home or at a library or something where you can study, and spend at least 15 minutes a day, even just 15 minutes, reviewing your notes, going over it. And you know what, one of the greatest study skills, I believe, is networking, working with other students or a parent, getting with someone else. 2 brains are better than 1, and it's amazing how much you can learn by your buddy. Check PowerSchool. Even students should be checking their own PowerSchool. And parents, if you have any trouble accessing it, you can call me in the high school and I can help you with the login and give you access. Or we can even send you emails once a day or once a week or once a month that'll give you attendance and grades. Prepare for future classes. Don't cheat. Cheating really isn't going to help you, because eventually you got to move on to another class that's a little tougher, and you want to have the skills to be successful at it. So don't take shortcuts. The PSAT 9, you will take next year. It'll be in the 2nd week of April. And this year, this class will take PSAT 8. It's a great practice test for the SAT to find out where you're at. Okay, and good or bad, you don't get caught up in that. Just look at, boy, what skills do I have now? What areas can I improve at, and work at that? We will work on updating your 4-year EDP through Zello. I would encourage you to get involved in school activities, whether it's sports, band, chorus, theater. Get involved. The students who are involved tend to like school better, and they tend to do better. Okay? They're happier. They make good friendships with that. They build memories. Get involved. And we have a wide variety of activities, from robotics to possibly esports. You name it, it's out there. And this has been something that a lot of people ask. They come as a senior and say, Mr. Ross, how many hours do I need of volunteer work to graduate? The answer is 0. It's not a requirement here at Shepherd. However, I encourage you to do it and keep track of it, because it does look very good on resumes and on scholarship applications. I mean, you got the Maple Syrup Festival. That's a great opportunity to volunteer. Dual enrollment. That's where you take the college class while in high school. We will look at the PSAT scores, your reading ability. We will look at your attendance, and we'll look at your GPA. And parents, the thing that we need most from you, because you know your student better than us, is what's their maturity like? Are they ready for a college class when that time comes? Are they ready for the rigor? Are they ready for the independence that comes with that? We do offer courses that are online. I have MMCC there, but it's actually no longer Mid-Michigan Community College. It's actually Mid-Michigan College, because they do have some 4-year programs now. Or CMU, and then we have several courses taught here at Shepherd. Students can take it for college or high school or both. 99% of our students take it for both. And then we have the early college option, where you stay for 5 years and you could potentially earn the associate's degree. But if you really don't want to do that, in your 4 years of high school, you could take enough dual enrollment to get what's called the Michigan Transfer Agreement. It consists of 30 credits throughout specific areas of study, and that means no matter what public college or university you go to in the state of Michigan, they will accept it as your first year of college completed. Now, I want to make a note of this. One thing to be aware of is, if you get the Michigan Transfer Agreement, when you first go off to that college, they may require you to choose a major right away. That doesn't mean you can't change a major, but it's something to be aware of. The school will pay an allotment that's the same as what the state pays the school per student per period. We will pay towards that college class. If the college class costs a little bit more than that, the parents will be responsible to pay that difference. It will come as a bill from MID. On average, last year, if that was the case, it would have been about $10 a class. That's pretty good. Now, if it's a 4 or 5 credit class, that will cost more, but we have something that's called a dual enrollment lab. If a student registers in a college class that's 4 or 5 credits, they can take a dual enrollment lab during one of their periods to take up 2 spots in their schedule. Okay? We'll give you more details as you get closer to that, because typically 9th graders don't dual enroll. They usually begin as 10th graders, but you need to think about it now. College, sports. How many again here are thinking maybe they want to play college sports? I guess we got a baseball player out there, I'm sure. We got a guy down here. Couple things. One, do not take money or anything, rewards, awards from anybody. It can ruin your amateurism. Okay? If you're in a big race and they offer you a big trophy that might be worth a lot of money, you say no thank you. Take a picture with it and send it back, whatever. You got to be careful. You have to qualify by your GPA in your core classes only, and your test scores have to be a minimum, or you will not be eligible for Division I or Division II college athletics. There's no exception to that. Okay? Back in the day, for those of you who graduated about my time period, it was something that was called Prop 48. Remember, athletes were Prop 48 and they weren't eligible? The parent role in education. Here's the things we'd like to see from the parent. One is log into PowerSchool. Do it a minimum of a couple times a week. Get into it, look at the grades, look at the syllabus. If your son or daughter's having an issue in class, we encourage you, one, talk to the student, see if they can address it, and then talk directly to the teacher. Before you go to a counselor or administrator, talk to the teacher, see what's going on. I think you'll find many times there's two different perspectives on what's going on. Encourage good study habits at home. I have a son, man, he hates doing homework. He just hates it. But we set a time, we go to the table, we sit down and do it. And when he starts getting too grumpy, I tell him go take a walk and come back. But I think those are habits you develop and they get used to it. And we set some boundaries. Hey, before you're going to go do this, this much is going to get done. Keep open communication with teachers. Challenge your son or daughter to take classes even if they're hard. Over the years, we've had students choose not to take a class because they thought it's too hard or it's going to hurt my GPA. The bigger question would be, is this class something valuable for your future? And if it is, let's do it. Let's not shy away because it's hard. Let's get help. Let's work at it. We can do this. And get involved with extracurricular. Parents get involved. And then talk regularly about jobs down the road. I mean, that's where students are going to learn more than anything is the exploration and talking to their family. Talk to them. Parents, you know their personality types. You know their frustrations and their skills. Give them ideas. And we'll help too, but, we can offer a few ideas, but it really comes down to the interactions and exposure that they get. Okay. Mrs. G has a couple closing thoughts, and then we'll take some questions.
So again, I want to remind you of a couple of things. The choices that we make in high school, they're either going to be good consequences or bad consequences. And so we really want to start off on the right foot. And I would say between now and the end of the school year to start practicing some of these things that we talked about. Start checking PowerSchool. Check your email, students, because when you come to high school, oh, I didn't check my email. Oh, I don't know what my grade is. Man, you've got to know. You have got to know, and you have got to start taking responsibility for your learning. And we really encourage you as high school students to do that. So please, students, practice. Start using some of those study skills. Go through your notes at night. Talk to your parents about your grades or something you're struggling in. And don't forget to ask questions. We have lots of resources here at the school. The middle school does as well. But if you have questions, make sure you're seeking out answers. We talked about post-secondary goals and what students are looking into. We have a career fair every year, and I believe the 8th graders got to come this year. We do have these options for students to talk to people in their careers and find out what it is they're interested in. I had a student take medical terminology because she thought she wanted to be a doctor and then said, no, I do not want to do that. So it's fine to explore or even take a CTE class that you think you're interested in, because sometimes it's good to find out what you're not interested in. You think you know, but it's really important this is a great time for our students to explore and ask questions, and that is really what we're here for. The other thing I wanted to let you know is if you are interested in dual enrollment, you want to know about it, on Mr. Ross's webpage here, that's right here, there is a screencast. And just watch it. You don't have to sign the document, but it's good information for you to have about upcoming dual enrollment and what that looks like. And also, if you have friends that were not able to make it tonight, or you wanted to figure out what we were talking about, this will be videotaped and it will be on the site as well. And so you can watch it again, because I'm sure it was really exciting. And
last year's is on there. We will replace this with this year, so you can go back and play this over again. And I mean, it's a lot of information, so it'll be there for you. And also, the course offering guide is also on this resource page. I had one more thing.
Yeah.
If you have older siblings or sons or daughters, they always say, well, I didn't know about scholarship stuff. If they go to news and info, any scholarship that comes across my desk, I put online. And I also put all the information, who's eligible, a deadline, and the application process. It's all there. The dilemma is it's hard to get our students to follow through. We email them, we get no reply. We call them into the office, they don't follow through. So what I've done is I've decided I put it on a website. We say, you go seek it out, that's where it's at. So parents, you know where it's at too, and you can help navigate your student to this site when it comes time for scholarships.
This really is a great site, and we tell students all the time, go there, there's information, and there is information, there's a lot of it. You're also welcome to email any of us, and we usually respond within 24 to 48 hours at the most. So I guess what I want to tell you is the class of 2024 is you are one of the largest classes to come through Shepherd. You are a big class with, I hope, really big ambitions, and we are excited to help you. We will have a freshman welcome or orientation in the summer, so if you have not liked our Facebook page, go ahead and like that so you can see upcoming announcements. We will also send a letter home in regards to freshman orientation, and your schedule for next year will come home in an email. So we're really excited about this. We hope that you're excited. If you have questions, we are going to be here to answer your questions tonight. Does anybody have questions right now before we close that everybody can benefit from?
You didn't talk at all about the Chromebooks.
Yes, the Chromebooks will be available. We're hoping, we're going to try to do it a little different this year, that the night or the day that we have freshman orientation, that parents will come at the end and pick up the Chromebooks, so it won't have to be 2 separate nights. So we're working on that. Anybody else? And these Chromebooks are your child's Chromebook for 4 years. So we take them back in the summer, we clean them up, we get it ready, and then we give it back to you the following year.
This EDP, you're signing up for classes. All that is letting us know the classes you want. We will do our best to get you into those courses. You will ultimately get your schedule mailed to you in the first part of August. You might look at it, 8th graders, to be 9th graders, and say, wait a minute, I didn't get 2 classes I signed up for. It may be because there's a conflict where certain courses are only offered a certain period and you can't take all of them then. If that's the case, we have what's called a drop and add period. You come, you sign up in the office, you come meet with one of our counselors, and we look to see, can we make changes to your schedule to make it work for you? And if not, we'll say, what's the next best thing you would like? So don't panic if your schedule isn't perfect, but we will work to make it as good as we can.
Any other questions tonight, parents, students?
Yeah, the question is, when should we start looking at scholarships and applying? That's a great question. If you're an early college student, you will wait until the 5th year. All the other students will do it during their 4th year of high school, their 12th grade year. I do what's called a senior audit. I meet with every single senior individually, and we talk about their plans, and we show them where they can get these scholarships. So they would start at basically the beginning of their senior year. They should apply to a college or training school by Halloween of their senior year. That way, if there are merit-based scholarships from that college, it's usually first come, first get. So if you apply by Halloween, you should get that merit-based scholarship. Okay? By the way, students, almost all the colleges in this area, they give you scholarships based on your SAT score and your GPA. And it's not really crazy. If you have a B average or better, like a 3.0, and you get maybe a 1,000 on the SAT, you might qualify for $3,000–4,000 at CMU and at Saginaw Valley. And that's a pretty good amount of money. So that's a great question. Did that answer it? Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I would recommend, I know it's a ton of information as a freshman parent. I mean, we're talking about senior year and we haven't even gotten to 9th grade yet. So This is what I would concentrate with your student this year. I'm picking classes for them, help them. And then if you want to make changes in 10th grade, it's just worth talking about. But we certainly can't make every decision today while they're still in 8th grade. So it's a lot of information. We will be here along the way to help you, and I appreciate you all coming tonight. And I look forward to having all of you in the high school next year.
Is there a summer school program?
The-
I did summer school before high school and then in between each night, graduated my junior.
Students do not, yeah. Students cannot graduate early from Shepherd High School. However, for students who get behind in credits, so if you're supposed to be a senior next year and you're behind in credits, we would offer summer school to those students first.
Say my freshman year, I took 2 freshman classes before I even got to high school. So when I was a freshman, I had 2 freshman classes, or 4 freshmen and 2 junior. I just kept doing that until my junior year. I took all senior classes and was done. So they can't preemptively take classes if they want.
You could take an advanced level course, but students still cannot graduate early. So you could have all your
Have all their extra credits.
Yes, they could still have all their extra credits. The other thing I do want to mention is, because you're talking about that, is students who take dual enrollment classes. You can take lots of dual enrollment in there, but you have to take a high school class. You could never just take all dual enrollment classes. Okay, and as a policy for Shepherd High School, we do not allow students to graduate early. As of now, that is the policy. Anybody else? Okay, so 2 things, students. NWA test that you're going to take here in the spring for your language test. We look at that score to look at first who may need to take Pre-English 9. So if you have ever blown off an NWEA test, don't blow off that one, because I look at it and we make decisions about a Pre-English 9 class. So just give you a heads up about that, okay? Other than that, that's it. If you really feel like you need guided academics, it would be great to talk to us or talk to your counselors when you're signing up for classes. All right, I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you again for coming.